KKR decided to back their power play shots in the middle overs. It was a bit of a strange start to the innings, 36 in the power play, and then the two left-handers, Nitish Rana and Sunil Narine, got going, and they've put up 194 for 6. It will be quite a task for the Delhi Capitals. Shaw not playing, Shikhar Dhawan will have to do a lot of the run scoring, a little bit of pressure on Shreyas Iyer as well. But what went right? What went wrong? Why did things work the way they did? All those questions will be posed to Sanjay Manjrekar on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. But today, KKR were powered by an unlikely pair, wasn't it? Were you surprised with these two players stepping it up today?
Yeah, we were surprised that, once Sunil Narayan was not opening the innings, which was, I think, a good move because he's just coming back and would have been too much of a workload on him, especially with Rabada and Noke in the opposition. It made sense for Narayan to not come in the opening slot. So we had Nitish Rana opening the innings. And, the surprise package was that he came down after Karthik at number 5. Now, that was a surprise move. It was out of the box kind of move that worked brilliantly for KKR. And the reason could be that they realized that Sunil Narayan now as an opener is struggling against some quality fast bowling, but he's still very good against spinners. And I think he showed that today. The way he went after Ashwin, he being a spinner himself, I think understands the psychology of a spinner as well when spinner gets hit. So move that worked brilliantly, and finally Nitish Rana getting a slightly bigger score than just a 20-30. And look at the difference that it makes on the score. 195 to get is not going to be easy for Delhi Capitals.
Right, we'll come to what Rana did, right, and what the opposition should have done against him. But someone on Cricinfo commentary asked, how much is Sunil Narine going to evolve as a player? And today, the way he went after the spinners, especially Ravichandran Ashwin, I think it was in that 8th over, doesn't he represent the new age of cricket intelligence, if you like?
See, there was one moment I saw where Ashwin bowled a proper, nice, good length off spinner. The ones that he should bowl more often, the one that got Chris Gale out, and he bowled it, and Ashwin, beg your pardon, Sunil Narayan hit him for a straight 6. The next ball was a quick delivery, short, slightly outside the off stump, and Sunil Narayan was waiting for the cut. Now, this has become so predictable for guys like Sunil Narayan who are, spinners themselves, that the moment the earlier ball was hit for a 6, there was an expectation that the next one is going to be quick and flatter. And after that, very rarely did Ashwin bowl that ball again. So if you're a bowler who doesn't like getting hit for 6s, then there are these kind of freebies available. Ashwin has bowled superbly right through the season, but to this afternoon, it was back to just being a little more worried about saving runs rather than wickets, because that long partnership was a bit too long for Delhi Capitals' comfort.
Right, 115 runs in that partnership of just 59 deliveries. Nitish Rana scored 81, 13 boundaries and just the 1-6. Did he get his shot selection right today?
Yes, because this is the guy who loves to play square of the wicket, plays the pull shot as well. And today you got a slight insight into the weakness that Delhi Capitals have if Ashwin doesn't bowl well, because they've got a rookie bowler, Tushar Deshpande, and we sort of expected him to not bowl in the final overs. And you have Stoinis always bowling 1 or 2 overs, and right through the IPL, there's been 1 over dedicated to Stoinis to bowl in the last couple of overs of the innings. So if you go hard like they did against Tushar Deshpande and Ashwin, then you're only relying on sort of Andrik Noke and Rabada to do the work. And Akshar Patel, just the 1 over for somebody who has been absolutely brilliant through the season, was hard to understand. And it was done again because there were 2 left-hand batsmen out there for a large chunk of the innings.
Do coaches make too much of a deal about these matchups? Don't bowl a left-hander, a left-armer against 2 left-handed batsmen, because anyway Ashwin was getting hit for runs. So
absolutely, I know for a fact that Tendulkar, when we played together, Tendulkar was so good, and he sort of was good against all bowling, but he used to make fun of an off spinner could keep Tendulkar quiet. Even in the nets, he would hit a leg spinner and a left arm spinner into the Wankhede Stadium stand. But the moment an off spinner came in, he just wasn't as devastating. So you can't go by this blanket rule that if there are left-hand batsmen out there, don't bowl your left-arm spinner. Now, Yuvraj Singh is a dangerous batsman to bowl a left-arm spinner to. Now, Akshar Patel, considering his form, and Akshar Patel is a wily T20 bowler. Now, had he bowled a couple of overs, he's not going to be turning the ball to the left-hand batsman to get them to hit or towards mid-wicket. He's very smart. He would have kept it short, and he has bowled actually to a lot of left-handed this season. And hopefully, at the end of the game, if this becomes a big point that they didn't bowl Akshar Patel at all, we should look at his strike rate against left-handed batsmen this season. So he bowls this ball that is flat and just leaves the left-hander, making it easier for a left-hand batsman to hit towards the mid-wicket, because that is one shot they look to play against a left-arm spinner. So I thought, yes, they just worried too much about two left-handed batsmen being there and not getting an in-form, seasoned, highly successful left-arm spinner. For that reason, was a bit too much.
Yes, and Marcus Stoinis ended up bowling his full quota for 41, and that's something Shreyas Iyer and Ricky Ponting and the rest of the group will surely think about. But on Rana's innings, do you think the Delhi Capitals pace bowlers did not test Nitish Rana enough? Would some more fast-paced shot deliveries have helped against Nitish Rana? Because that seems to be his weakness.
Uh, I don't know whether that wasn't tried enough. There were a couple of attempts for sure to try him with the short ball. The other thing that is happening this season, if you notice, with the short ball is that batsmen are not good against it. And Rana did that a lot. He started moving around in the crease a lot, and they just sort of throw their bat at the ball, and invariably the ball sort of hits the edge and goes flying over the keeper or where the slips would be for 4 runs. So short ball is used a little sparingly by seamers, because a full ball, if the batsman mishits, then you get a leg before or you get a bowl. A short ball, if it's missed, it goes flying. I mean, it's so unfair for a bowler, and it only happens in our sport where a bowler has bowled a brilliant short delivery. The batsman has just thrown his bat blindly at the ball, and it's a complete miscued shot. It's actually the bowler who has won that particular contest, but it's the bowler who's docked 4 or 6 runs. So that's why the short ball is used a little sparingly. The only thing I'll say is that the Delhi Capitals, especially Henrik Nokia, is going away from his main strength of attacking the stumps no matter what, which he was doing virtually every game in the first few matches.
Also on Shubman Gill, he got off to his innings with that terrific boundary, hit that gorgeous looking shot on the up. Can such first boundaries fool a batsman into believing on that day in that innings he can perhaps get away with most things? And do you think that led to his downfall with the kind of slightly loose shot he played, or is he thinking of the chatter around his performance? Oh, his strike rate is not very high. What's happening there?
Exactly that, Manish. It's a catch-22 situation for people like Shubman Gill. So he started off superbly. The ball was coming onto the bat as well, so that suited him. And everyone's talking about Shubman Gill, the class player, the strike rate. But this IPL season is a long one. You've got those scores as well there. And you can see how the pressure is built up in the last 5 innings for him. So it's a long season, and it's impossible for any batsman to keep that same kind of form and the same kind of flow, strike rate right through the season. So everything fell into place, and then a couple of failures came along, and then he's thinking, I've got to get a score, I've got to dig myself in. So he digs himself in, but he's not able to then make that into a big score. So when you get out on 25, which is happening to Shreyas Iyer a lot, in 25 balls, you're actually doing a lot of disservice to your team, because 25 balls is almost 15% of the innings. And if you consume those, I mean, you look at Morgan, the kind of impact that he made, he faced just 8 or 9 balls in the end. So when you consume 20 and just get 20 runs, you're actually setting your team back a lot. And that guilt, and if it happens a couple of times, starts playing on you. So I can understand why he would have tried that today.
Just a quick word on that Rahul Tripathi dismissal. Andy Norke bowling that 148 kph missile. It was a bit too hot to handle, and just showed the difference between quality between the two players, isn't it?
It's a great observation, Manish. I think you're absolutely right, because that is something, we were talking about how Rahul Tripathi is not getting a great deal, being shunted up and down the order. And then, we mentioned consistency as well. That early start of anyone's career, if you've got to make a name for yourself, no matter what, whatever little chances you get, you've got to make the best of it. But that particular dismissal showed the difference, where Rahul Tripathi is as a batsman, purely based on that dismissal and his inconsistency, and of course Nokia's class as well. Dinesh Karthik too, the way he got out, he insists on batting at number 4 with a beautiful swinging delivery. But if you look at Karthik's bat, he was looking to play that somewhere around mid wicket and mid on. So two very poor dismissals, but great point on Tripathi. It actually showed, what ability is of a certain bowler and a certain batsman in the way you get out as well. Not just about getting out, the way you get out.
Right now, 195 to score for the Delhi Capitals to win and consolidate their position at the top of the points table. Ajinkya Rahane will be feeling slightly gingerly. What should his approach be? Because firstly, is it a short-term move to keep Shaw out, or is it a long-term decision? And if yes, should that have been communicated to Rahane?
It's a wrong move. It's a wrong move, whether it's short term, long term. Because, are you looking at Ajinkya Rahane as a long term T20 prospect, or is Prithvi Shaw your man? And how is Prithvi Shaw now going to come back into form? If you've dropped him, his confidence is going to drop further with the playoffs and eliminators likely to come. Had Prithvi Shaw found form, you have a very talented T20 batsman, because he's suited for this kind of format, than just finding form at the right time. So you would have had Shaw clicking in the first half and right at the end as well. With Ajinkya Rahane, basically you're getting him in, and obviously he's going to be short of confidence. He'll try to get a score for himself, and even if he gets a score, plays a good innings, whether Ajinkya Rahane is going to be a solution as a T20 batsman, because that didn't work for Rajasthan Royals. If you remember last season, there was 100 that he got in an IPL season. But that same season, his franchise released him as well. So Ajinkya Rahane, even if he gets a score, is he going to be a long-term T20 option? That's the question. And I would have stuck with Prithvi Shaw no matter what.
Well, the truth is that Rahane has come out to bat alongside Dhawan. Quick one. Dhawan has been dismissed by spinners 6 times in the power play since 2019. So game plan against him, would you unleash a Varun Chakravarti and a Sunil Narine straight away at him?
Yeah, I think
or are we also overdoing this whole matchup bit?
No, I think there will be pace from one end and spin from the other, because when you look at Prasidh Krishna as the option and they've got Nagar Koti, they'll go with Cummins and either Sunil Narayan or Varun, mostly Sunil Narayan. But the great thing about this score is that Prithvi Shaw, beg your pardon, Shikhar Dhawan will have some company. I don't think the other batsmen are going to think, Shikhar Dhawan can do the job, because 190 is a score where the others also have to contribute. Because if it's only Shikhar Dhawan, then you get 160. So guys like Rahane and the batsmen to follow, people like Shreyas Iyer, Pant, those guys will have to now, make sure that in the first 15-20 balls that they face, they have at least 30 runs on the board.
Just as you say that, Shreyas Iyer has started to walk into bat. First ball, Ajinkya Rahane, leg before wicket, plumb in front of Pat Cummins. We'll talk about that at length in the post-game show. But clearly not a great sight, not a great visual for Delhi supporters. But you know what? I've been to Sanjay Manjukar's house once, and he's got this great view from his house in Prabhadevi. But guess what? We've got some equally good-looking visuals all the way from the United Arab Emirates. Watch them, because we believe watching is the new everything. Sanjay, a fan of the extravagance of that country, or do you prefer good old, very middle class, very pleasant world of Prabhadevi?
See, I've been to UAE a lot. There was a time when I used to do a lot of shows there from UAE for a certain channel. And there was a time I used to fly down every week to just do a TV show. So I enjoyed it. I love the food there. I love the air conditioning in the hotels and in the malls. But nothing like London or Mumbai, which has a soul as well.
Okay, who knows? Maybe we'll have an IPL in England someday. Hopefully not, because we want it back in India. But for now, guess what? We've come to the end of this conversation. We will join Sanjay Manjrekar once again to look back at this game and to look ahead to tonight's second game. Thanks so much for now for joining us on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket 4 T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. See you at the end of this innings.